Welcome to the Mobile World Congress 2010, coming to you from Barcelona, Spain. This is Twit TV. My name's Simon Dingle. I'm from the ZA Tech Show in Johannesburg. With me is Brett Hagard, one of our co-presenters on the show. Hi, Brett.
How are you doing, Si?
Good. Bit tired. We just flew into Spain this morning. It is, of course, the Mobile World Congress, probably the biggest event in the mobile industry annually. We were here last year, and there were about 47,000 people, if I remember correctly, Brett?
There or thereabouts, yeah. It gets unbelievably full this time.
Yeah, and so expecting in the region of about 50,000 this year. The conference hasn't begun next year. It hasn't begun just yet, is what I meant to say. It gets into full swing tomorrow. So we're at the Showstoppers event. This is kind of a preview event. It's aimed more at the press, at the media, to show us what's coming up and put us in touch with some of the exhibitors. So if I look around the room, we've got Plantronics are over there. The guys from Opera over there, they're showing off their new mobile browser. Uvu Mobile, the guys from the GSMA, the big industry body that does the conference every year. And a whole, I mean, who else have you seen in the room, Brett?
There's some guys called Bitstream. They have a new mobile browser. There is Plantronics. They've got some really nice handset technology. Powermat here, they have some new stuff as well. And then a very nice augmented reality app called Snug, I think it's called.
Yeah, and we'll be speaking to all of these people as we go through the show this morning. If you're watching on Pacific Standard Time, it's now about 5:30 in Barcelona, Central European Time. If you're watching us on the west coast of the United States, it's about 8:30 East Coast, 3 hours ahead of that. It is the Mobile World Congress. It kicks off tomorrow. There's some big events lined up this week. We'll talk about them through the show. Microsoft's going to be making an announcement. We're expecting that it could be Windows Mobile 7. I mean, Microsoft just the whole wave in mobile that's been happening over the last 2-3 years. Microsoft's kind of been sitting on the sidelines from a hype perspective, Brett.
Yeah, they've been trying to catch up. Last year's announcement of 6.5 was, almost a very, very Me Too iPhone-centric, we also do this, we also do that, the next thing. We've all been speculating for a while now that Windows 7 for mobile, or Windows Phone as they're calling it, really has to be phenomenal in order for Microsoft to really reclaim their share of the limelight and, interest in the market.
Right. So we'll be coming to you live for the next hour, chatting to some of the exhibitors at the Showstoppers event here in Barcelona. It's freezing cold, but that hasn't kept them away. What was the temperature when we arrived this morning, Brett? It's about 5.
Well, when I arrived a little bit after you, it was 6
Celsius. What's that in Fahrenheit? I don't know.
It's cold.
It's really cold. Exactly. Okay, so Brett, do you want to go and get us somebody to speak to? We've lined up a few interviews from the show this afternoon. So do you want to go and?
Yeah, I'll go see if I can find somebody from Plantronics or Snug. I'll be back in a sec.
Fantastic. Brett's going to go and find us some people to speak to. So we're at the Hilton Hotel, in the lobby of the Hilton Hotel in Barcelona. That's where the Showstoppers event is happening this afternoon. Mostly journalists, mostly media, and a lot of analysts hanging around. Here's one member of the media from South Africa, Toby Shapshak from Stuff Magazine in South Africa. Hi, Toby.
Hi, Simon.
Have you seen anything good at Showstoppers yet?
I have, yes.
And what would that be?
I've just seen some very clever stuff that Plantronics is doing over here.
Yeah, we're going to be speaking to them in a moment.
But one of the cleverest things I've heard so far is something that they're sponsoring. So must I look at you or must I look at the TV?
You can the TV, hey?
I read it.
You can look at the telly.
They're sponsoring something called Snug, which they've launched in London and they are now doing in Barcelona. And it's an iPhone app that tells you where you can find free Wi-Fi and power.
Right, yeah. It's like an augmented reality application.
Coffee shops where you can go and work and you can see good stuff and you can do whatever.
Cool.
Very, very clever idea. I bumped into these guys from Jivo. They're an Irish company and they do something called The Leaf, which is
let's hold that up so that everybody can see that. There you go.
I'm talking.
That's okay.
Hold the microphone
in my mouth. We need to work with one mic and a camera.
It's a biodegradable iPhone cover.
Biodegradable iPhone cover, just in case you ever drop your iPhone on the compost heap.
Indeed. That's as far as I've got. In fact, the Hilton's a very nice place to be tonight. There's free Wi-Fi on Valentine's Day, so I can call my girlfriend on Skype.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Toby. Stuff Magazine. Toby Shapshak is the editor for the South African version of the publication. Like I said, we are in Barcelona. It's the Mobile World Congress. It's the biggest event of its kind in the mobile industry. It's running in Barcelona until the 19th of February, this Thursday. Some big announcements coming up. We'll be talking you through some of those. We'll also be speaking to some of the people from the industry who are exhibiting at the Showstoppers event. In fact, I see somebody from Plantronics coming over. Hi there. Do you want to step a little bit closer into frame? Oh, you're not coming on? Okay. We're waiting for somebody. We're waiting for somebody else who's going to come on. Brett's gone to get them. Okay, we'll wait a little bit. That's fine. So as we said, some of the big announcements coming this week are from Microsoft. Samsung's got some stuff they're going to be showing us. Nokia's here, Ericsson, Nokia Siemens Networks, Huawei, and a lot of the infrastructure providers are at the exhibition as well. Skype is exhibiting this year. And of special interest is the fact that they're going to be doing a joint press announcement with Verizon. So it'll be interesting to see what that's all about. I've been trying to think of what Skype would be doing in a press announcement with a network provider. So we'll wait and see what that's about. So we're in the basement of the Hilton. It is the Mobile World Congress. We're coming to you live from Barcelona on twit.tv. And we've got a representative here from Plantronics. This is Philip. Hi, Philip.
Hi, how are you, sir?
Fine, thanks. And you. So you're at Showstoppers. What are you guys showing off?
Well, today we're actually showing 4 DSP-enhanced PC headsets, which have noise cancellation capability and super wind capability.
Okay. So these would be good for Skype. Would a broadcaster be able to use them?
Absolutely, sir. In fact, one of the things we're saying is that for people that want to do podcasting, that's the thing to choose.
I know. Leo Laporte he kind of favors the Plantronics headsets when it comes to headsets. They give a really great sound quality, but the noise cancellation is also pretty good on the Plantronics sets.
Yes, indeed. Well, noise cancellation is pretty much a required ingredient for Bluetooth headsets people on the road. But now we have more and more people no longer working in offices which are well acoustically groomed. So people working in ad hoc places, cafes, bars, train stations, they need the gear too. Because on their PCs, they need noise cancellation.
Yeah, for sure. So what are some of the other items that you're showing? Are you going to be on the exhibition floor at the FIRA, which is the big venue where all the exhibitors are going to be this week?
No, we're not going to be there where we have 100 places beyond that. We're also launching here Work Snug. And Work Snug is a augmented reality application that gives you more than 100 of the best places to work outside the office in Barcelona. It's an application, virtual reality, augmented reality. It shows you places that have been rated for good Wi-Fi. There's plenty of power outlets. There is sound levels being measured for you. So you're guaranteed to go there. We're going to be in these places.
Okay, and we're going to take a look at a demo of that later on. I'm really interested in seeing what you managed to come up with. Is that global at the moment? Does it have hotspots all over the world?
Well, it's actually been launched in November in London. And actually, we're launching it here for Barcelona, Madrid, also Berlin, Paris, New York, and the Bay Area and San Francisco also is going to go live, and Berlin. I may have forgotten that.
Across all platforms, iPhone, Android?
It's an iPhone thing at this very moment, but the worksnug.com website is being launched. So basically, any smartphone that has internet capabilities can go to it too.
Fantastic. Philip, thank you so much for chatting to us. Philip from Plantronics.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Looking forward to seeing those products. Augmented reality is something I'm finding very interesting at the moment. I've been playing around with AR. And it's kind of, I don't know, if you look at the information it's feeding from, I like Layer because it feeds with a lot of open systems. So it'll use Google Maps, for example, or Wikipedia. We've got pieces of equipment falling all over the place. Very ad hoc setup here. Okay, so Mobile World Congress is, as I said, the biggest event of its kind. The whole mobile industry basically converges on Barcelona every year. There's a massive exhibition. A lot of press events and announcements are made at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. It's centered around an area of the town called the FIRA, and it easily accommodates about 50,000 people and fills about 8 halls full of exhibitors. Something that's interesting this year as well is that there's a whole area dedicated to apps. So there will only be apps or app developers that will be exhibiting in that area, and it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. As I said, Microsoft's here, Ericsson's here, Huawei's here, Google, Skype, anybody in the mobile industry basically who's anybody is here, except for Apple. Apple wasn't here last year. Apple isn't here this year. I know they're not big on trade shows at the moment, but they are conspicuously not here. All right, so Brett's got our next guest from Navteq. That's David. Hi, David.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you. So how's Showstoppers going so far?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay. Now, Navteq, obviously mapping company, develops maps and provides them to a lot of companies owned by Nokia.
Yes.
Okay. And what are you showing off at Showstoppers?
We are launching, we're showing here the launch of our new enhanced 3D city models, which is a set of data to enhance navigation experience with 3D, either for walk or driving experience.
Okay. So if I'm driving around, I'll see 3D models of the buildings that are around me.
Exactly. So we are building products that will enable to have these kind of advanced experience for walk and drive in any kind of devices, whether it's an in-dash system in the car, whether it's a dedicated device like a PND or a mobile phone.
Okay. And that must require a lot of development.
Yeah, exactly. We actually we started with the foundation of our map to build up all these 3D data. And the way we've designed as well the product is that our customers will have an easier integration of the product so that we can stream this product in all devices. That was our key focus. The other focus that we had based on our consumer surveys we've done is that the 3D model of the city that we've done is really focusing on what is essential for the user in their navigation experience. So we don't have trees and all this stuff. That we are really focusing on navigation experience to be enhanced with 3D aspects.
Okay. I was looking at one of the providers that uses Navteq maps, and they've started to add things like elevation, so altitude starting to become important as well. What are some of the other trends in maps that you guys are looking at outside of sort of three-dimensional mapping?
The other trends, I would say, again, I'm back to 3D because we think that's 3D like the next steps for navigation experience, for either driving experience, walk experience, and even search experience. The way we are designing the product is that we are including what we think are the other trends. Is everything that we do with 3D is linked to the way we want to monetize it, and especially linking POI to every given location. So in that product we have designed, you are able to identify a business building versus a standard building, which kind of hopefully for our customers and ours enable some new business model for monetization of these aspects. So it benefits for the end user in terms of enhanced navigation experience, but it benefits as well for the business players to be able to monetize differently on these new features.
Okay, so one of your competitors, I guess, perhaps even inadvertently and more directly over the last few months would be Google. And we've seen them incorporating their Street View pictures into Google Maps navigation, which is coming to the Android platform, for example. How important is sort of actual pictures and footage, perhaps, of streets going to become? And is that something that you're working on?
So I have twofold in my answer to that question. The first thing that we think that in the product that we've launched, again, enhanced 3D city models, is really focusing on navigation enhancement experience. So if you look at the videos, I don't have the device to show it to you, but it's really focusing on making sure that you have the right guidance when you move from A to B. The other aspect of you mentioned Street View. We are working on another launch that we have most probably will do tomorrow. It's called Navteq Journey View. So that product is meant as well for bringing new experiences of video capturing and into navigation device. So that's going to be our answer.
Okay, great. So at the moment, who are the big providers using Navteq maps?
Most of them. So either on the PND side, so we work with most of the PND players with the exceptions of our competition, I would say. We work with most of the biggest provider on mobile phones, and we work as well with most of the device maker for in-car navigation systems. So basically, we are almost everywhere. Our maps are almost everywhere.
Right.
Just to give you a rough count, I don't know if it's one. We are now close to 2 million hits of our maps per day by users that are being done these days.
Okay. David, is there a website people can hit if they want to learn more about Navteq?
I'm sorry? I didn't.
Sorry, your website. Is there a website people can hit if they want to learn more?
www.navteq.com, and you will find anything that we do about our products, but as well what we do with developers to extend our products' reach to multiple kind of applications beyond navigation.
So it's Navteq?
Yeah, navteq.com.
Okay, fantastic. So we'll check that out. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Of course, Navteq is owned by Nokia, and Nokia announced 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I'm just bending up to pick up equipment that's fallen. Wait, Bay. So So Nokia recently made its OviMap service completely free, which I thought was an interesting move. In the past, you could get navigation for free and you could get all of the map data for free. But what they've done now is they've made all of the services around that free as well. So what you can get now is, for example, rough guides. They provide rough guides for locations. You can get that free of charge as well. Michelin guides for the whole world, as well as voice navigation. That's all gone completely free. And I think that's going to be a big differentiator for Nokia. So definitely check that out. Navteq.com. We are broadcasting live from the Mobile World Congress. I've got things falling on the floor that just won't get up, so we're just going to leave them there. It's all working okay. Brett Hagard, come over here for a moment. Brett's running around getting guests for us. Brett's one of my co-presenters on the ZA Tech Show out of Johannesburg in South Africa. Brett, we were talking earlier about the big announcement that Microsoft's making tomorrow at the Mobile World Congress, and the fact that we expect it to be Windows Mobile 7. I've also heard that Steve Ballmer might be, well, definitely at this stage is going to be at the press event.
We don't have it 100% confirmed, but yes, he did deliver the keynote on this last year at their event, so he will be doing it again this year, I'm pretty sure. And they're, of course, calling it Windows Phone, so it's not Windows Mobile 7, although technically that is the version. So they're trying to brand it Windows Phone. There's a lot of noise about it, a lot of speculation.
Well, one of the things that people are speculating about is that there's a Zune phone on the. I mean, Windows Mobile 6.5. I played with it on an HTC device where it looked a heck of a lot like the Zune operating system.
Yeah, it's one of the pieces of speculation that's out there at the moment. Is that what they really should be doing with the front end is going the direction they have with the Zune. It's a very, very slick interface. It makes a lot of sense. It's snappy. It's responsive. It seems very, very feature rich at this moment in time. So that could be where they end up going with it. Of course, they could just end up doing an evolution of Windows Mobile 7. Windows Mobile 6.5, in Windows 7. All I know is they have to do something absolutely remarkable with this, else I think they'll be out of the game.
Yeah, and I've heard analysts say that as well. All right, let's move to our next guest. We've got Philip over here from Opera Software. Hi, Philip.
Hello.
So, Philip, Opera Software, opera.com, of course, or opera.org?
Yes, opera.com.
Okay, and that's where you'll find the Opera browser. Now, mobile, of course, has been a big thing for Opera with Opera Mini, which is all I used to use on my Nokia device. You've had some trouble getting into the iTunes store, though.
We actually haven't had trouble getting into the iTunes store because we haven't submitted the application yet to the iTunes store.
Oh, really? I was under the impression that it was rejected.
No, it's actually in our public press release that we have yet to submit to the iPhone App Store.
Well, that's a big misconception then.
Yeah, there was a misconception at the end of last year. And that was actually a comment made by our CEO. And that's we've been working on the iPhone application for quite some time. But we made the press release this week. We are very excited about the build quality and showcasing it to press and to partners. But we have not submitted it for the App Store. But unfortunately, we're not showing it on video or on film right now. Because we haven't not submitted it yet to the iPhone App Store. But we are showcasing Opera Mobile on Android for the first time at our show, as well as a few other software pieces.
Okay, so let's take a look at it. And I must, we arrived at the airport this morning in Barcelona, and Opera had some ladies standing with signboards. You know, when you arrive at the airport, there's always people standing with signs, and it's like Mr. Kosiyaki from wherever. And they had a whole bunch of ladies holding signs that said Steve Jobs. So it looked like they were waiting for Steve Jobs to come out of a plane, which I thought was pretty funny, poking fun at Apple.
We've been a PR company for quite some time.
Say no more. All right, so we're taking a look at the Opera browser on Android. Yeah, show it to the camera. You can get it right in there. In fact, if you look at the bottom left, you'll see what we're seeing without the delay. So that's the Opera Mini browser. Is it Opera Mini?
No, it's actually Opera Mobile 10.
Opera Mobile 10.
This has been announced in press release, but it's never been able to be shown publicly because you can't download it yet. And so our partners we're working with is exactly this build here on the Android device.
Okay, so you're running that on a Nexus 1?
This is a Nexus 1, but it also runs on any Android device back to actually 1.0. And so it does run on the old 528 megahertz devices as well. But of course, the Nexus 1 is a very big marketing device right now, and we want to show it on the best.
Okay, well, let's get it right in there. You can get it really close. We're sort of dealing with very rudimentary setup here, but there you can kind of see what's going on the screen. Yeah, so Philip, tell us what you're doing.
I'm going to step on the side here.
Okay.
But, let me make sure it's still in screen. Let's see.
Just up a little. There we go.
All right. What I'm showcasing here is this is a speed dial. This is what people are familiar with Opera Mobile and also Opera Mini. But inside of Opera Mobile here, we got a few websites preloaded. We can show you some live ones as well, but this is the full Opera Mobile on the phone.
That's very smooth.
We have a site here we would probably like to show. You might have seen this one before.
Yeah, that looks familiar.
Yeah, it could be.
So, okay, so does this utilize the multi-touch features in the Nexus One?
It actually does not utilize that. In HTC and in Samsung deliveries, you can see Opera has delivered multi-touch capable browsers. There's nothing limiting the software. But in this particular public demo or the beta, we are not showcasing multi-touch on the Nexus One.
Okay. Are there any features on the iPhone version of the software that are unique to that device?
Well, in general, the iPhone build is Opera Mini 5. And what I just showed was Opera Mobile and not Opera Mini. Opera Mini is the same on the iPhone as it is on any of the devices. And therefore, the experience is the same. There is no real different feature set on that iPhone. I guess the only bit that is unique to that is that we have session management. So when you're inside of Safari and you close it, you open it up again and it's the same web page. Now that's actually the same with Opera Mini as well. So you can see the web pages you've been going to before. But other than that, it's the same experience that now 50 million people are using every month to access the internet, and that's Opera Mini 5.
Okay. So is this going to be in the Android marketplace, or will it come directly from the Opera website?
There is no announcement that Opera Mobile will be available inside of the Android marketplace. Opera Mini is currently available inside of the inside of the marketplace in version 4.2. And that's currently where we're standing with the Android platforms. But of course, we're very active in delivering our solutions across platforms. And I would probably say stay tuned to this, to the Android platform and Opera in the future.
We definitely will. So there are no costs at this moment in time that you could sort of project on what one would pay for the app, or will it be free?
In general, our products are free when we deliver them. You can download Opera on your J2Me phone or Windows Mobile or Series 60 or many different other platforms from opera.com. But we have made no announcement whether the Android marketplace or an iPhone marketplace, if we do get into the the App Store marketplace, if we do get into the App Store marketplace, we have not made a public comment about whether we charge or not.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you, Philip. Thanks for showing us Opera. It looks fantastic on the Android device, on the Nexus One, which isn't available in South Africa yet. In fact, still only 4 countries, huh?
It's still only 4, but I have a feeling that Google is going to reach a little bit further than 4.
Yeah, eventually. We hope so.
But Simon, thank you very much for your time and have a great show.
Thank you very much, Philip. Okay. Bye-bye. Philip from Opera Software. Check out opera.com, of course, famous for its browser, and Opera Mobile 10 coming very soon, he says. No more details than that to Android and hopefully the iPhone too. Of course, they'll have to get it through the approval process to get it vetted for the iTunes App Store. So that whole process awaits Opera. I think Safari could do with some competition on the iPhone myself. Not that there's anything wrong with the Safari browser per se. But Opera Mobile is looking slick indeed. So we're at Mobile World Congress. My name is Simon Dingle, broadcasting for twit.tv. It's now just about 6 p.m. here in Barcelona, which is Central European time. 9 hours ahead of you on the west coast of the USA. 6 hours if you're on the east coast. And at about GMT plus 1. Am I right, Brett? Give or take. It's the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. It's an annual event. About 50,000 people expected at this year's event. It is the biggest event of its kind in the mobile industry. And we're at the Showstoppers event now. Showstoppers is designed for the media, for the press, for analysts, to see some of the exhibitors from Mobile World Congress. Got a taste of what's to come in the week. This is day 0 of the event. Tomorrow, Microsoft will be making an announcement. Nokia will be making an announcement. Samsung is expected to show us some new devices. There's a lot happening in Barcelona this week, and we'll be bringing it to you on twit.tv as far as we can, as well as on the zatechshow.co.za, which is the show that I regularly host. So we've got our next guest, which is Roger. Hi, Roger, from Uvu.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thanks to you. So that's OOVOO, although Uvu doesn't really need any introduction.
Thank you. It's uvu.com, also online.
Fantastic. So Uvu is here, Uvu Mobile, and what are you showing at Showstoppers?
Well, what we've really done is we've taken the Uvu solution, which has been on desktops and living rooms for a couple of years now, and brought the ability to have multi-point video chat. Uvu is all about video chat with multiple parties. We've brought that to the mobile device, just proliferating that anytime, anywhere strategy we've always had.
Right. Now, we've seen the iPhone recently start allowing that sort of thing to happen over its 3G connection. Is that something that Uvu is utilizing?
It will be a 3G and 4G application, yes.
Okay, fantastic. So give us some idea of how this would compete with the Skype, for example. Skype on mobile has been limited to audio for the most part.
Correct. Skype has been audio only, and we're still reading news about them finally going to audio on the 3G. Uvu is really about video, and that's been our core functionality. Although we do have the audio capability, we do have telephone calling, we built the product around video. That's really what we are. And taking that video to the mobile device and the ability to have that video chat from anywhere that easily is what we spend a lot of time and effort building and developing.
Okay. What kind of quality could one expect from the video chat at the moment?
If you're familiar with our web product and you've seen our quality, it's generally at the high end of the spectrum. And we did a lot of customer research on Skype users and consistently have been rated better on video quality and audio quality than Skype comes across. Our whole goal was to take that experience and put it on the video, on the mobile as well, because without the quality, it just becomes noise. I mean, there have been plenty of video apps that just aren't that good and they disappear. We're not looking to disappear.
Is there some, I suspect there's some proprietary magic built into the Uvu solution, or are you using standard codecs?
It's an H.264 codec, so it is a standard codec, but there's a whole bunch of things behind that to make it work right. Everything from lip sync to just consistent quality is a bit of a challenge.
Okay, so when can we expect to see this new incarnation of Uvu with video chat? When can consumers expect to be able to get hold of that?
We'll be announcing the carrier and device partners mid-year. You should see the product in the market in the third quarter.
Fantastic. We look forward to it. Thank you so much, Roger. Roger Wells from Uvu. And good luck for the show.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, so next up we've got Richard from WorkSnug. Richard Leyland, where can we find WorkSnug? WorkSnug.com?
Yes, we're at worksnug.com. Our website launched just today. We're also a free of charge application in the App Store.
Okay, fantastic. So we've had one of your colleagues from Plantronics who's told us a little bit about the solution. We're talking about augmented reality, but with a pretty niche focus, right?
Sorry, say that again. A niche focus.
Well, to a degree. I mean, you're talking about a wide niche, but it's a niche of people who want to find hotspots to work at?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So that niche is actually expected to be 1 billion people by 2011.
Okay, we'll just drop the adjective altogether.
I couldn't resist.
The noun.
Yes, I mean, we're aimed at mobile workers who want to connect on the go in the big cities of the world.
Okay. So can you show us the application? Do you have it on the device?
Yeah, I do. I have it on the device. So we have sent teams to review viable places to work in big cities. Barcelona is one. We're live in Barcelona as of today. So what we do...
Can we get that up against the screen? There we go. So that's the WorkSnug application. I'm going to get out of the way of it.
We overlay places to work over your view of your environment. So these are all of the places that you can go and work in around this building in Barcelona.
Okay. So yeah, the little blocks that are showing up, it has the name of the Ulsa Cafe, for example, and it says free Wi-Fi, yes, and it says it's 0.8 miles away.
Exactly, yes. So there is a whole other layer of detail. So you can touch your way into one of these places, and it's maybe a little bit small to read there, but there is a whole review of that particular place. So it'll say things like, let's straighten it up a bit there, is the Wi-Fi chargeable or not? What is the noise level like? And so on and so forth.
Okay. And is that user-submitted information, those reviews, or is...
We generated this data. We sent teams all around the city of Barcelona and 7 other cities to actually visit these places, connect, try it out.
Okay. And will there be a platform for users to generate or to submit their own venues and whether or not they're Wi-Fi in the future?
Indeed. So we started the ball rolling by doing this curated reviewing. As of today, with worksnug.com going live, anybody can go to that site, register with us, and they can review their own places anywhere in the globe, and that review will feed into our application.
Okay, so we got somebody in the chat room who says I should ask you how the software recognizes the exact position and direction. Are you running that on the 3GS?
Yes, it's on the 3GS.
So it's using the compass?
It's using the compass, the GPS, and clearly the camera, because we're using a camera view.
So if you were on the iPhone 3G without the compass, would it work?
It would be a lesser version, because all you can then do is put geotags on a map. So you still got all the functionality, but it's not quite as cool. You're not getting that,
yeah, right.
that augmented reality function. The thing is that augmented reality requires the secret source of the camera, the compass, and the GPS. At the moment, that's limited to Android devices and the iPhone 3GS.
Well, that was going to be my next question. What platforms can I get hold of WorkSnug on at the moment?
Today, it's iPhone only. In the next few months, we will move to BlackBerry, then Android, in that order.
BlackBerry before Android? I suppose you're going on market share?
We're going on market share. The Android operating system may be sexy as all hell, but it's got pathetic penetration today. There are millions.
Can we quote you on that?
There are millions and millions of BlackBerry devices out there globally.
There sure are. Okay, so yeah, WorkSnug. It looks fantastic. I'm definitely going to try it out. For a while there, I thought you had some special way of telling whether or not cafes had Wi-Fi, but I suppose the only way you could do that is if somebody went there and actually tested
That's
it.
the only way to do it. You got to go there. And remember, as I said, we've set the ball rolling. We want a community of mobile workers to form and go to these places. If they don't agree with what we said, add their own review. So we get something really rich that says what it's like to work in these spots.
And are you planning to add anything extra to it in the future?
We have lots of plans. Yeah, it's a bit early to be kind of voicing them in a forum like this, but certainly our larger term goal is to be a really cohesive and useful community to these millions of mobile workers. And there are lots of ways that we can do that.
Will we be able to visit you on the exhibition floor at the Mobile World Congress?
We're not exhibiting at Mobile World Congress, but we have our own event on Tuesday morning, which is a media breakfast.
Okay, I'll expect my invitation.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for chatting to us. Yeah, good luck with the event.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That's WorkSnug, worksnug.com. Looks fantastic. I'm going to check it out. I actually used the compass in my 3GS to get you, just the compass application. You know, when I got my 3GS, I was like, okay, so that's where north is. But they told us when we arrived at the subway station to get to Showstoppers, we had to head east. So there's an app for that, apparently. My name's Simon Dingle. This is twit.tv. We're broadcasting live to you from Barcelona in Spain. It's the Mobile World Congress. 50,000 people converging on Barcelona, give or take, for the industry's biggest event. We've been walking around Barcelona today. It's freezing cold, but of course, there's a lot of great things to see in the city. Fantastic restaurants. Lots of tapas. Been enjoying those with Brett. We've got a whole week of that ahead, so we're gonna be putting on some weight this week. Gaudi, of course, his creations are dotted all over the city. We've been to Sagrada Familia. Barcelona is just art. It's a beautiful city, and this is a great event. We're bringing it to you live on twit.tv. So we've got our next guest lined up, and that's Beth from Powermat. Yes.
Hello.
Hi, Beth. Getting out just a little bit to your left there. Now we can see you. How are you?
I'm very good. And you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. So we know Powermat, that's wireless charging for gadgets. What are you showing at Showstoppers?
Sure. Well, we have a lot of new items. One of the most exciting is our new...
Can I help you with those?
Sure. This is the new PowerPack technology. So if you see here...
Let me just show them.
Sure. That's the original receiver. Very slim, but still a change to the device. So that's what BlackBerry from the original line. Let me trade with you.
Okay, so that was the original one.
Yes,
it protrudes a little. It's not too bad.
Yep. This is the new PowerPack technology. So if you hold it up.
Where is it?
Exactly. Where is it?
So this is the Bold 9700 BlackBerry.
Exactly.
And
there's no change to the look and feel of the device. The only change is the freedom and convenience we've added. So this is the PowerPack.
Okay, so you actually replace your BlackBerry battery with that?
Exactly. It's an upgrade because you get the battery, but now you can charge wirelessly. Drop and charge on the mat, no cords required. We'll be supporting all the leading phones.
Are you handing out samples?
We get that request a lot.
Now, this isn't something we could do with the iPhone, unfortunately, because you can't get the battery out. Is there something that you have for iPhones? Is it still something that you have to add to the device that protrudes from it?
We have actually a couple of new items for iPhones. We have a new soft case, which is much slimmer and sleeker. And we also have an extended battery case. So you get the convenience of wireless charging plus an extra battery. And then we have a new item called the PowerPack, which is a battery on the go. So you recharge it on the mat, but then it's power wherever you are. You don't need an outlet. So it can do your iPhone. It can do any phone with a micro USB, which of course is everything today that's new.
Yeah, that's a standard now. Okay, that's fantastic. So back to the BlackBerry battery. You could take that power pack out and you could leave it on your mat, put another battery in your BlackBerry, and charge up your batteries while you're away?
Exactly. It will recharge on the mat too. So for those of us who burn up batteries on smartphones with big screens, this takes care of it for you.
Okay, let me just get that closer to the camera. So this is a replacement battery for the BlackBerry Bold 9700. I'm still getting this left and right thing. Right. Left, right. So you basically take out the standard battery in your BlackBerry, you add this to it, and then the Powermat charges it, which is fantastic. And you've got Powermat accessories available for most devices.
We do. We support the leading phones, and then we can do things like handheld games, iPods, really everything that you have around the house.
This is the way things are going.
It is the beginning of a complete change in the way we charge and power. And actually, at the booth at the show, we're going to show a house without wires, so a kitchen with no wires whatsoever. Blenders, mixers, you name it.
Okay. And then, so I'm just obsessed with this BlackBerry battery. How long would this take to charge up? Let's say it was completely empty.
It depends on the battery, but it's no different than the original manufacturer's battery.
Okay, so if you're listening on audio, you didn't really see what the BlackBerry looked like without this device. The older device kind of stands about 2 millimeters off the back of the BlackBerry, so it's got an adhesive.
Pretty good.
Oh, good guess, 2.5. And then it's got an adhesive.
It's actually a replacement door, so you take off your original door and use this.
Okay, and now that's not necessary anymore. You just get a replacement battery. Looks exactly like the BlackBerry's battery. It's just branded Powermat, and that's all you need, and you're good to go. Charging wirelessly. Beth, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. That's Beth from Powermat. Wireless charging for devices. That's where it's going, right? I just want that for everything. I actually have a product called the Wink Box, which isn't wireless in any sense of the word, but it's basically a shelf that mounts on the wall there at winkbox.com. And you tuck all of your cables in there, along with the power adapter, and you run all of the leads through. So it basically looks like a nice shelf, but I think a Powermat is definitely the right way to go. Wireless charging, the way of the future.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's missing really is wireless power at the moment.
You know what? I want a Powermat built into the dashboard on my car. Wouldn't that be rad?
I think they should linoleum walls and the floor with Powermat.
Yeah, they should make Powermat tiles, and you could just do your whole home.
Indeed, inductive charging for the win.
Fantastic. I mean, there would be a health risk, but we can test this on rats.
Indeed.
Brett Hagard's back from zatechshow.co.za. He's been walking the floor here at the Showstoppers event. Day 0 of the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. So what else have you been taking a look at, Brett?
Well, I've looked at, there's a ton of browsers here, mobile browsers. I've got somebody lined up to speak about another browser, if you like.
Fantastic.
I've also got the guys from Nuance that have a new form of, I think it's a speech to text or a handwriting to text or something to that effect. You remember they released the dictation for the iPhone?
Yeah, they do the Dragon software.
Indeed. And they've got something new that they're actually unveiling tomorrow. Can I quickly get the new browser guys in?
Yeah, sure. I'll speak to Nuance.
Yeah, hold on a sec.
Okay. I'm holding on for a second. We're coming to you live from the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona to twit.tv. It's now about 30 minutes past 6 o'clock. We'll keep going as long as they let us. We've got our guest here from Nuance. Hi there.
Hi.
This is John West from Nuance. Can we get your website address? We'll put it up on the screen.
It's www.nuance.com. Simple as that.
Nuance.com. I've been playing with your dictation software on the iPhone. Surprisingly accurate for the most part. But I was wondering about what's happening in the background while my iPhone is working on converting speech to text.
Well, the fact that you're getting a good recognition is not too bad, given that your accent is obviously not US English.
So it's conditioned for US English.
The version is out on the US App Store is for the US accented English. So the fact that like myself, I get a very good view of it as well with a fairly neutral English accent. So,
maybe that's it. Maybe it's the neutrality in the accent.
Yeah, it's neutrality in the accent. That's why you're getting a reasonably good result. You're not heavily accented, but you've got an accent that isn't native North American. So you will not get the results as if you were a native North American.
There you go. So what are you showing us today?
So we're going to show you the capability of what's T9 Write. So and also I'll expand that a little bit further into a multimodality input in here. So on this client here, I have the capability of opening up and choosing the method of which I want to input my mechanism.
Okay. So at the moment we're in typing mode. Is that right?
We're actually in T9 Write mode.
Okay.
So by using trace. So if you remember graffiti in the old days, I
used to love graffiti. I used to use it on my handspring visor.
So that's a similar concept here of being able to just type.
Okay, so you're writing on the screen. It's brought up a pad at the bottom of this device. It looks similar to that pad that used to be on the old 3Com devices, on the Palm handhelds and the handspring visors on the old Palm operating system. And instead of using a stylus, you're inputting the characters with your finger.
That's correct. And that also has the capability of using the Nuance predictive text capability. So as you previously didn't have this ability to predict text. So an example here, if I had a space in here, I can put a longer word like product, for example, here, and stop, and it'll then start looking at the words that are possibly in there. So I need to put a D.
Okay. I want to try and get that on the screen, if you don't mind. Let's just get that up against the camera so you can see this application from Nuance running. If I can do the left and right thing successfully again. And people are going to think there's something wrong with me. Oh, goodness. Okay, so there you can see, I don't know how to hold my microphone, but over here at the bottom, you've got the input area, and then, well, it disappeared now. So let's go back to John then.
So
somebody who knows what they're doing.
Well, allegedly, yes. So we put the input mechanism there, but of course, if you're in an environment now where you can change your input mechanism and you want to move it into here, you can then have the option here at this point to actually tap and speak.
Okay, so that's the standard Android keyboard.
So this is a standard Android keyboard, but with an additional button at the bottom to be able to tap and speak. So I can now.
So it looks like a space bar almost, and it says tap to speak.
Tap to speak, and if I tap and speak now, I can say, "I hope you're well." It's now doing the process again very well in the same way that you did your iPhone application. It's using a similar technology in the background and then populating it there. In there. So you've got a mechanism of mixing the modalities of choosing which what you want to put and how you want to put your text into your messages based on the environment and the situation you're in. It's highly unlikely that you're going to want to put your excuses for why you're going to be late home and voice those in while you're sitting on a train. So you'll probably use a bit of predictive text and a little bit of T9 write at that point. But if you're in an environment where you feel comfortable with that, then you'll use speech because it's far quicker and far more accurate in doing that.
Okay, so you can combine a whole lot of inputs. You can type on the standard Android keyboard. You can tap to speak and fill in some stuff, or you can switch to what did you call it? The
T9 write.
T9 write, which is similar to graffiti on the old Palm devices.
Which is using your finger to trace the shape of the letters and being able to type across the top of them, but also adding to that the predictive capabilities that you have with T9. So it's predicting the words of that it thinks ahead. So you can type longer words. You type the first couple of characters, and it'll give you those options. And it will learn your most popular words as you go along. So the most frequent ones will be there straight on for you to use and select very quickly.
Okay, fantastic. So can I see if this does work as well with my voice as it does with yours?
You can try.
Okay, so I'm going to take out some of the things that you've put on the screen here. This is on which Motorola device is this?
It's a Motorola Milestone, so it's the GSM version of the Droid.
Okay, so this is the Motorola Droid or the Milestone, and we're running Nuance's new application. So I'm going to say tap to speak, and I'm going to say we're broadcasting live from the Mobile World Congress. Let's see what it says. Oh, I have to hit that again? Okay, it says processing, Liberal Coffee live from the Mobile World Congress. You go. Close enough. But, I could have used the keyboard or the T9, right?
You can use the keyboard now to correct that if you want to.
Yeah.
To actually do that. But as I say, it is learning your voice profile over a period of time and will get more accurate the more you use it.
Fantastic. Or maybe it just knows that liberal coffee is my favorite kind. Thank you so much, John.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. That's John from Nuance. They do that fantastic Dragon speech software, text to speech, and the other way around, and now a whole lot of other input devices. I've actually been playing with Shape Writer on the iPhone, which has just blown me away. If you've seen the app, it's in the App Store. I think it's only in the US store at the moment. Shape Writer, one word. And what it basically does is it has a keyboard for the iPhone, and you can just slide your finger over letters, and it'll try and guess what word you're going to do. So if you're going to write look, for example, you'd slide over LOK. It'll get look, and it'll guess that you meant double O, and then it'll also bring up other possibilities for that word as predictive text. So I really enjoy that. Of course, the iPhone being a closed platform, you can't replace the standard keyboard with it. But on Android devices, perhaps we'll see that start to happen. Brett Hagard's back.
Hey, Si.
Our man on the floor.
Yeah, there's a lot happening out there, let me tell you. I've been running around and just grabbing people out of discussions and conversations with other people. And
that's your job today, to be rude.
Indeed. It's working quite well.
And what have you learned?
Well, I've learned that Twit.tv is a pretty big name. People generally drop whatever they're doing and rush over immediately.
Yeah, and I think we need to say something about that. Leo Laporte and the guys at Twit.tv have... sorry, I keep looking down at our equipment. We're a two-man show today. But Leo Laporte and the guys at Twit.tv have been great. They've basically given us their channel today to bring you the Mobile World Congress Showstoppers event live. So we're very grateful to be here. I'm Simon Dingle. This is Brett Hagard. We host a podcast in South Africa called the ZA Tech Show. We love This Week in Tech. We love watching it live. and Mac Break Weekly and all of the other great shows that Leo and his guests put together. So we're very grateful that we could do this for Leo today and bring you the Mobile World Congress, or at least one part of it, on the twit.tv network. So we'll be around for another few minutes. I don't know, we can speak to anybody else, Brett?
I do have... I do have...
Jane says, keep going, keep going.
I do have another browser company we can take a look at. That seems to be a real big theme here this year. It's not so much about hardware and devices anymore. It's about services and applications and add-ons and really compelling little bits and pieces that you add on to your mobile phone experience, or your mobile experience for that matter, and start customizing it and extending it.
Yeah, and with everything moving online, I mean, we saw Google Voice, for example. The app was rejected from the iTunes store, and Google found a way around that by building a really slick web application. So I think, increasingly developers are starting to realize that the web is a great conduit for what they're trying to do.
Indeed, and I think a lot of vendors are also learning that the more open their operating systems are, the better job they do at building good software development kits that allow developers to very easily program for those platforms, open APIs, that kind of thing. We're going to start seeing a bunch of compelling services moving onto handheld devices and mobile devices. And with that, it's going to start unlocking the cloud. And that's what's really, really exciting.
Yeah. So there are a lot of cloud application developers that have contacted us ahead of the show. When we signed up for Mobile World Congress, they asked us for our email address. Little did we know they'd open it up to all of the, I don't know how many thousand exhibitors that'll be here.
And the interesting thing was I purposefully went and unticked all of the little boxes that said, please send me additional information on this product and that product and the next. I still ended up on the spam.
Man, have we been spammed. But it's good because we found out about some really neat projects. I was playing with Waze, W-A-Z, or Z if you're in the US, W-A-Z-E. So what that is it's a crowdsourced GPS navigation application. You've been playing with it as well, Brett.
I haven't, I've downloaded the application for my iPhone. I haven't used it on the iPhone, but I've just used it in a web browser. And it's just fascinating to watch people driving around and mapping themselves and sticking little bits of information back onto the web, or the cloud for that matter. Kind of, there's traffic jams in this area. There's a robot out. In South Africa, we call traffic lights robots.
It's very confusing, I know. We're not talking about Cylons. We call traffic lights robots. We're just strange that way.
So traffic jams, traffic lights that are out, street lights that are out, huge potholes in the road, which is another big issue in South Africa.
And robots with laser eyes. If they're around, you'll find out about it on Waze as well.
You don't want to drive past them.
So it's at Waze.com. Go and check it out. They're exhibiting. They're one of the companies that contacted us. It really is cool. You don't even need to download it onto your device, although it is available for Android, iPhone, and a bunch of others. Windows Mobile, Symbian. So what you can do is you log on to Waze.com, set up an account, and it's free, and you can see a live map on the website of people driving around. I think the one thing that Waze is missing is it has no maps built in inherently. It creates its maps by its users driving around, so there's always going to be gaps.
Sure, and I think, that's a question I asked at the time. How relevant is this really? From the perspective that mapping companies and GPS companies have traditionally put data on there, and then you use what's available there. All right. Open source mapping is supposed to make that free, but now all of the maps are going, free.
Yeah. So tomorrow's the big Microsoft announcement that we were telling you about. We've been talking about it a bit, but I think it's really important to fit Microsoft into this whole mobile puzzle. They've been doing good things with the Zune. It's not available outside of North America, which I still find completely confusing. But there's been rumors of a Zune phone. There's a lot of rumors about Windows Mobile 7 to follow up on 6.5 under this new Windows Phone brand. And Microsoft's going to be announcing something tomorrow. Steve Ballmer's in town. I remember last year I saw a great panel discussion. Walt Mossberg from the Wall Street Journal was hosting it. It had Steve Ballmer, OPK, the CEO of Nokia, and then the CEO of AT&T, De Silva, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So big names come to the Mobile World Congress every year, and we know that Steve Ballmer is here. He's going to be talking to the press tomorrow, and we suspect showing us Windows Mobile 7. Now, I played a bit with Windows Mobile 6.5, and obviously there are a lot of enterprises that are heavily invested in the Microsoft stack. Windows Mobile, I suppose, would be a no-brainer for them, but BlackBerry is, just kicking ass and taking names, right? If you look in the US, I believe the last stat I saw was a 47% market share.
I can't say whether that stat's correct or not. I don't have that kind of information, but I think the one big interesting thing about Windows Mobile at the moment is that Microsoft's making more money off of Exchange licenses for other mobile operating systems than what they are on sales of Windows 6.5.
That's right. I mean, Google is paying for Exchange licenses to enable Google Sync because it's based on Exchange, right?
And I'm pretty sure Apple's paying for exactly the same because the iPhone supports Exchange now too. So yeah, they have to do something utterly remarkable this time around with Windows Phone. Last year, I was completely underwhelmed by the launch of Windows Mobile 6.5. I've played with some of the devices. I think the automatic trap is the fact that there's not enough differentiation and there's such a wide variety of hardware platforms that Microsoft needs to support in their operating system. So immediately what happens is the entire user experience gets bogged down in this need for support. It's almost akin to the problem Microsoft had with Windows Vista versus macOS. It needed to support such a wide variety of different graphics cards and expansion cards and keyboards and mice and webcams and all of these kinds of things that not to mention processors and hard drives and everything else, that the operating system started slowing down. I think exactly the same has become true of Windows Mobile over the years. We've seen vendors leave the stable, come back into the stable. And I think they're honestly tired. The hardware vendors are tired of getting lambasted by the market for having these phones available. I mean, HTC at one stage had an extremely bad name in the market until they released their Android phones. Now they're a champion again because of the Android phones.
And we're expecting the Google Chrome browser from HTC as well.
Yeah, indeed.
Sorry, Google Chrome pad starting to get lightheaded.
But I think with Windows 7, Windows 7 for mobile, Windows Phone, Microsoft has to do something utterly remarkable. They really have to hit it out the park. They seem to believe they can.
But the question is, can they get the developers on board? Can they replicate what Apple's done, what BlackBerry's starting to do with Apple, then what's happening in the Android marketplace?
Well, I heard an interesting...
I'll take care of that for you. You talk.
I heard an interesting gem of information a couple of weeks ago from somebody at Microsoft. And I'm assuming it was on the record because they didn't...
Brett's very well connected.
They didn't at any stage say it was off the record. But from what I understand...
They don't say it's off the record, it's on the record. And when they say it's off the record, it's on the record.
Yes, a source close to the company has indicated that. The thing with Windows 7, apparently, right, Windows Mobile 7. I keep on referring to it as Windows 7. Windows Mobile.
There's a bit of a difference.
Indeed. One runs on a very, very small handheld and the other runs on a variety.
And one's really good and the other's poop.
Well, we don't know that yet. Let's see what happens.
Well, I'm talking Windows Mobile in general. It doesn't have the best of track records. I know it's got a lot of fans and whatever.
Indeed, indeed.
So did the Brown Zoo.
So there's been a lot of skepticism around Windows Mobile 7, Windows Phone. And this source inside Microsoft, said to me that Microsoft's realigned the development teams behind this product. So the same team that was responsible for getting Windows 7 out on time, getting that to be absolutely compelling, very, very powerful, and that whole revival effect we've seen go on, on the desktop, that team is now in charge of the development of Windows Phone.
Okay.
And if that is the case, I must say, I'm very, very intrigued to see what they...
Oh, that changes everything.
Indeed, indeed. It could be a really, really good thing. It could be more of the same. The one thing we have learned over the years, one of the flaws with Windows Mobile per se is that a desktop operating system does not work well on a mobile. Windows Mobile.
That's starting to change, though.
I don't know.
I mean, I played with the Nokia N900. I played with another South Africanism. I suppose it holds. I played with the Nokia N900. I utilized it for about a week. And it's running the MIMO Linux distribution, which, for all intent and purpose, is no different from a desktop Linux. You can run full-blown apps that you would on, say, a Debian or an Ubuntu Linux, and they work pretty well on MIMO. I got stuck in there, rooted it, got root access, got SSH running pretty well, even SSH server. So, I mean, the N900 is showing us how powerful these platforms are becoming, and along with it, everything else that you can do with them.
It was a beautiful concept. I also played with the device, and I've been quite a Linux guru over the years. It was a beautiful, beautiful concept. I played with it for a week. It was intriguing to have an entire Linux desktop, that functionality, everything up,
It was intriguing to be able to SSH into my phone.
Very, very geeky. And I showed people, look, we can SSH. Look, there's a web server running on this. Look, we're trying to get the GNOME desktop interface working on it. We're trying to get X Windows running on it. Guess
And what did they say to you? Does it have Penguin Club? And does it take pictures?
Well, they blinked at me, right? And then they basically said, we don't want to have to go through all of the hoops of going out onto the internet and finding the applications we want, and then downloading them, and then hacking them, and maybe having to compile them and do everything else to get this working on this handset. What they want is the same.
See how I did that? I just moved the microphone closer so I could say,
What they really want is they want the same functionality the iTunes Store brings them, the same functionality the Android Store brings them, the same functionality Ovi is starting to bring to the market. That ability to log on to a really, really simple interface straight from the handset and click once and the application downloads. You don't want all of these hoops to jump through.
No, I do not.
From a development platform, you want the openness that Maemo brings.
Okay.
From a user perspective, not really.
So we started off talking about Windows Mobile 7 and we ended up at MIMO. Why so much about mobile? Well, we're at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, the biggest event of its kind, brings together the entire mobile industry from all over the world. The fact that there are a whole slew of South Africans here says it all, really. But Apple's not here, and they weren't here last year.
And strangely enough, they got a ridiculous amount of airtime as a result of that.
Yeah, I think there were more people talking about the fact that Apple wasn't here than anything else that happened at Mobile World Congress last year.
What do they call it? The big elephant in the room nobody wants to talk about. Well, the big elephant that wasn't in the room that everybody was talking about. And it seems like it's the same this year.
Yeah, not adhering to industry standards. I mean, we've made the point before elsewhere that Apple really, when it comes to mobile, exists in a different room from the rest of the industry. And I'll get lambasted for saying that. But, I mean, they are, everybody's here. Nokia's here, Ericsson's here, Sony Ericsson's here, Samsung is here. Every single developer in mobile, just about, who has the budget to send somebody here is here, besides for Apple.
I think the main difference is Apple knows they're going to get a lot of airtime out of this. They know they're going to get a lot of PR out of it. They're standoffish with the press normally. So this is just a standard practice, really. And maybe, they just want to illustrate that mobile's just one sector of the market they're involved in. There's a whole ton of other things. Although Steve Jobs' latest keynote would have you think that mobile's all they do, because he, tended to go on about that.
Right. I'm just looking at... Sorry, we're just getting feedback from Dane. I'm just looking at the chat room. Jimmy makes a good point. Apple doesn't need to spend money and is covered anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we're in Barcelona. It's freezing cold, as I said. Mobile World Congress. We're bringing it to you live on twit.tv. I'm Simon Dingle. This is Brett Hagard. We host the ZA Tech Show together in South Africa. You can find us at zatech.co.za. Barcelona is an amazing city. We've been walking around a lot. It's got a really good subway system. Trains every 5 minutes. Very German without being in any remote way German.
And no confusing zones, which I really, really like. The fact that you pay once to get into the metro system, right? And then you can take endless number of rides until you get to your destination. So no matter how many connections...
I think most subways work that way. We don't have subways in South Africa.
Well, not yet.
We ride elephants everywhere.
We have one coming, but it's shaped like an elephant.
There's also... I got the iPhone app for the Barcelona subway system. It's really good. Tell where you're going, and it kind of tells you which stations to get off at and what to do.
It would be unbelievably rad if it showed you where the train was.
It would be even better if it teleported you to where you were going, but
Okay, so back to reality. Really, really effective, metro system, like you were saying. Beautiful city. Of course, the architecture is just mind-blowing. You drive around, or you're just sitting in a bus, or you're walking around the city, and you come across these beautiful, beautiful buildings.
And a lot of nerds with badges like, that's not a badge, with badges like these that say GSMA, Mobile World Congress. So what this is a beacon, and this tells muggers that there's a big event happening in Barcelona and that they should come and take all your stuff.
Yeah, indeed. So in fact, there's actually an advisory out, a security advisory out that's in the welcome pack that says, please do not wear your badge.
I'm only wearing my Showstoppers badge.
And the moment we walk out the door,
there could be muggers in our midst.
Indeed.
These guys look like developers, but you never know. Speaking of which, you want to go and find us some more people to talk to?
I have somebody lined up, in fact.
Okay.
Give me one sec. I'll go fetch them.
I'll give you 30. So this is the Showstoppers event. It happens on day 0 of the conference. You'll remember seeing Leo and Kiki walking around at Showstoppers at CES in Las Vegas. Same idea. They get exhibitors together into a room. They get the press, the media, and some analysts here. And we take a look at some of the things happening in mobile. It's called Showstoppers. It happens at a lot of big events. It happens every year in Barcelona at the Mobile World Congress. It was here last year as well, and the year before. I believe it was in France before then. Last year was my first Mobile World Congress, but it is the biggest event of its kind. And this is Showstoppers on day 0. We're bringing it to you live on twit.tv if you're watching the stream right now on Sunday, 14 February. It's Valentine's Day. I don't need to remember. I do. My wife's at home. But yeah, we're bringing it to you live on Valentine's Day if you're watching. So we've got our next guest lined up. You can step to the left. Hi, what's your name?
Sampo Kasla.
Sabo Kasla.
Yes, and I work for Bitstream.
For Bitstream. Now you're developing a mobile browser. What's your website? Bitstream.com?
Yes, the company is bitstream.com, but the browser itself is available from boltbrowser.com.
Bolt browser, B-O-L-T.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so tell us about your browser. Why a mobile browser?
Okay, the Bolt browser is an extremely fast browser. It was launched a year ago here at MWC. And in 1 year, we have 4 million installs. So
that's a lot. There are probably a lot of people out there going, how the hell doesn't Simon know about this thing?
That's funny. So from 0 to 4 million in 1 year. So we're very happy about that progress. And we're actually launching a new version tomorrow morning, Monday morning, called 1.7 with even more cool features and additions. But sort of quickly, what Bolt Browser is all about, it's about really good standards compliance. And we're WebKit based behind the scenes. We score a perfect 100 on the ASCII3 score.
Okay, so WebKit is the platform that Safari and the Chrome browser are built on?
Yes, exactly. And we are cloud computing based, so up in our cloud, we have WebKit running there. So this brings down the ability of like the iPhone type of really nice rendering down to even low-end feature phones. So we run on all kinds of phones, from low-end feature phones to smartphones, Blackberries. And at some point in the past, now our number is higher, but at some point a long time ago, we already went over 1,000 different models that were installed on by our users.
Oh. Okay, I'm being asked by the Twit Cottage what your URL is. You said it was boltbrowser.com?
Yes, it is.
Okay, boltbrowser.com. There you go. It should pop up on the screen any moment now then. So no iPhone app then?
No, not at this point. And iPhone has a pretty nice browser, not as fast as ours. If we were to go on iPhone, we would be a lot faster than iPhone.
It's also WebKit based though.
Yes, it is. So it has very good standards compliance. So if you compare with the iPhone, what we have, we don't run on the iPhone today, but we have same kind of web standards compliance. We support Flash videos from a number of sites. So that's something the iPhone browser does not do. And more speed. So it will be many times faster. The cloud computing-based architecture, just a phone the browser sits only on a device cannot compete with us in terms of speed.
So is it doing rendering in the cloud then?
Yes, it is. So all the heavy work is done in the cloud, and there's all kinds of data compression happening in the cloud. It sends down only a small fraction of the data down to the handset.
Aha. So if I hit a Flash site, I type in the URL, it's actually rendering the Flash on your servers, and then what is it doing? Streaming the output to me?
Yes, it is. So we actually don't support full Flash. We support Flash video. So I want to point out.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so it will stream the video down to the site. But at any site, you go to some big web page that is maybe for desktop browser would be, let's say 1 megabyte, would typically come down less than 50K bytes for our user. So which the slowest link in the network is often the wireless network. And so we push down less than 5% of the original data typically over the wireless link.
So if I use this on a BlackBerry, you're compressing it on your server. The BlackBerry BIS or BES service is compressing it again. I'm getting a trickle of data to my device.
No, actually, I don't think they can improve it. So I don't know if there's. I'll show you on a BlackBerry how it runs. It runs very fast on the BlackBerry.
You have one with you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so let's take a look at that.
Okay, so how do we get this on a screen?
We're just going to have to hold it up to the screen, I'm afraid. Okay. Very rudimentary setup that we've got over here. Is that the right word? So let's see how it goes. Yep, he's holding up the BlackBerry. Which BlackBerry is that? Bold 2?
This is the BlackBerry Tour from Verizon.
Okay, all right. So I think that would be the equivalent of the. I'm not actually sure. Anyway, so it's.
So I'm going to go on a complex website now, CNN. So I just clicked the website now.
And okay, so we're going to CNN.com.
Yeah, it started loading right now. So let's see if we can see anything.
Hold that right up to the camera. Let me take it from you and see if we can get a bit better.
And
so you can see CNN.com loading.
And I think it's already loaded, actually. So it's fully loaded. That's how fast it is.
That was really fast.
Yeah. It's the live CNN is incredibly fast.
And is that happening over a 3G connection, or is that the Wi-Fi at the venue?
This happens to use a 3G connection, but it even works over lower speed connections than 3G. So we have a lot of users in India, Indonesia, places like this, And our speeds are, especially, I mean, on a slow or wireless connection, it really matters the data compression aspect of what we do.
Okay, can I take a look at that? So, so I've got a BlackBerry device running the Bolt browser, boltbrowser.com. We've just opened up the CNN website. It hasn't rendered a mobile version. So if I go to a website that has a mobile version, will it detect this browser?
Well, we actually give the user a choice. The user can in our preferences, say I want to see the mobile version or I want to see the desktop version. So in this case, I've selected the desktop version in my preference, but I could switch over to the mobile version if I wanted to.
Okay, fantastic. And then the compression in the cloud, rendering in the cloud, and just a really fast browsing experience based on WebKit as an output with support for Flash video. There's been a lot of talk about Flash with Steve Jobs' rumored remarks about Flash and his insistence on it not being on the iPad, for example. It seems like Apple is waged a full-on war against Flash, something that a lot of web developers have commended them for. But you know, Flash still makes up a good deal of websites out there.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and that's why we thought supporting Flash video was an important thing for our end users.
Oh yeah, I mean YouTube, just about any video online at the moment, if it's not using H.264, is Flash.
Yeah, absolutely. So our users love the ability to play video within the Bolt browser. Absolutely.
And of course, Twit.tv is available as H.264 via HTML5. I could be wrong about that, but if you go to live.twit.tv, Dane, if you could confirm if that's right on your iPhone, you can now watch that without Flash. So go and check that out if you're watching live.twit.tv, or even if you aren't, go and watch it. Thank you so much for showing us the Bolt browser.
Thank you. Welcome.
I'm going to go and get it on my BlackBerry. I've got a Bolt at home, so looks like a good experience. The built-in BlackBerry browser is terrible.
I know, it's slow and kind of buggy, yeah.
It's not a great browser. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck for the show. I got somebody handing me, what is that, beer? I suppose it's about that time. The sun is setting here in Barcelona at the Mobile World Congress on day 0 of the event. Toby Shapchak from Stuff Magazine is back. Big gadget mag, international.
Indeed.
And Toby is the editor in South Africa. Have you seen anything else you can tell us about Toby? I'm going to have a sip of beer.
I've a lot of things that we discussed earlier and the people that have spoken to you, but I'm very keen to see what's going to happen tomorrow. There's a very big press conference from Nokia in the morning, followed by one in the afternoon with Microsoft. And the thing for both of them is they have to show how their operating systems are going to stay relevant this year. Android made a modest beginning last year and is just going to get better and better this year, given that it's an open platform and that so many people can write for it. And you know, as you said earlier, Apple's not here, but the bottom line is that nobody, they still dominate this place without ever presenting here. I mean,
right. So what do you think we can expect from Nokia tomorrow?
It's hard to say, but I think they're going to start pushing their other operating system,
MIMO,
and I think they need to, because they're really. I mean, they sell 400 million handsets a year, but everybody says Nokia's under pressure. They say Symbian's under pressure and that it's reached the end of its road. I don't know that it has. Personally, I don't think so. I mean,
it probably still has a place on your very sort of simple entry-level cellular phones.
Well, Series 60 is a really powerful smartphone operating system, and continues to be like right up there with smartphones. But everybody seems to think that something like Android is going to be pushing the envelope more and more than anything else will. So we've got to see what they do. I was just thinking, as I was talking just now, that a couple of years ago, when the iPhone was first announced, it was in January at Macworld, and I came to Barcelona, a couple of weeks later, let's say a month later. The iPhone was still 5 weeks away from actually launching, and it completely dominated this place. And it's much like how Apple dominates so many other areas. They're not here. They weren't at CES in Las Vegas when I went in January, and yet they are still the company that everybody talks about. And it's truly remarkable. I mean, people come and show you something. I was walking around, they went, "Have you seen our iPhone app?" Talking of mobile browsers, there was another bunch of guys showing me some stuff called Skyfire.
Skyfire. What does that do?
Skyfire.
Skyfire.
Well, it's a way of bringing
fire in the sky.
Fire in the sky. A way of bringing Flash to the iPhone, because it's a fully compliant Flash browser. Doesn't work on the iPhone yet. They say they bring it. They've got.
Good luck getting that one through the vetting process.
Exactly. They've got a Series 60 Symbian, and they've got a Windows Mobile. The ultimate mobile browser, of course, is Opera Mini, which I've been using back in the day. I mean, I think it was on Windows 98 when I first used it, and I got it as I got it on a stiffy drive. It was less than
a stiffy. I mean, a 3.5-inch floppy.
A 3.5-inch floppy. Well, we call them stiffies.
Well, it's okay.
Indeed.
We just have to make sure that nobody's misunderstood what you meant about putting things on your stiffy.
Yes. It was a 3.5-inch floppy drive.
Right.
Stiffies.
We were talking earlier about the fact that we call traffic lights robots in South Africa.
Yes, it's a very amusing thing, and people often get confused. I say left at the robot, right at the... So what can you do? It's an anachronism of South Africa.
What's a traffic light in Spanish?
The traffic light?
You know, in Barcelona, the people in Barcelona that I've met anyway have been so friendly. It really doesn't matter if you don't speak Spanish here. They're friendly, they're helpful. This morning, a colleague of mine opened a taxi door into traffic, and somebody drove into it, took the mirror off their car. And you've never seen the taxi driver and the guy whose car had just been mutilated being so friendly about it. No, it's okay, don't worry. Can I have your passport number? But other than that... It was all good.
Listen, I used to think the people in Amsterdam were so friendly. You'd be walking down the street and all the cyclists would ride past you going, hello. And I thought, oh, hello, how are you? But it was actually, hello, you idiot, you're in my way. I nearly ran you over.
Is that what they say under their breath? Okay. Toby Shevchuk from Stuff Magazine. Thanks for the beer. I'm going to go and have more of that a little bit later on. Brett Hagard's also still here from the ZA Tech Show. We are in Barcelona. It's the Mobile World Congress. We're streaming this live right now on twit.tv. I hope you've enjoyed the stream this afternoon. I think we're going to be wrapping things up soon. There are only about 15 minutes left of the Showstoppers event. That's where we are. Showstoppers, you can see behind me, a full exhibition floor, developers, hardware providers, and other people with an interest in mobile that are exhibiting at the Mobile World Congress this week, and even some who aren't, who just showed up to Showstoppers and to show the press what they're planning. So I think we're gonna end it at that. Then I hope you've enjoyed the feed this afternoon. My name is Simon Dingle. You can catch me at simondingle.com or zatechshow.co.za. I've been helped out this afternoon by Brett Hagard.
Thanks, Si. I am at ZA Tech Show also, and at Bretsky on Twitter.
Fantastic. So we hope you've enjoyed the feed this afternoon. We'll be going into the floor right now, finding some of the other things that we haven't seen yet, and then, of course, preparing for day one of the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona that kicks off tomorrow, Monday, the 15th of January. So we hope you've enjoyed the feed this afternoon. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.